The Contented You. March 24, 2015. There are so many dear souls searching to discover happiness. What many of these dear souls don't realize is that discovering contentment is just as important as happiness, perhaps more so. How can contentment trump happiness, you may wonder? Well, dear ones, there are many answers for this question, but we will settle on just a few for this week's transmission. It is understood that happiness comes in waves. It can be raised or lowered depending on the day or moment. On the other hand, contentment describes stability, balance, and harmony. Whereas the dear souls that are constantly searching for happiness, they often look for ways to increase the happiness they find, and they do this sometimes through food, indulgences, or including a loved one to share in a happy moment. But contentment is more. It is a skill that permits you to let go of old, outdated ways of living and being, and still be content and in harmony with life. As you begin to make changes that are for the better, it is always a good thing to start by being content. Being content, dear ones, really describes being truly happy with the person you are, despite your slack in certain aspects of your journey. You are not expected to be perfect. Be happy with your life just as it is. Imagine how your life would be if all the things you declared yesterday you were grateful for were all you woke up to today. Would you still be grateful and content, or would you wish for something different? So many dear souls put all their effort at being successful, thinking then they will finally be happy. Sure, you may draw a significant salary, but monetary success does not mean you have found contentment. Those that consider financial success as a way to happiness has not found contentment with their true self. You will find, dear ones, the many dear souls that live in poverty or who are poor and barely make ends meet are more content than those who are financially secure. How can a poor person be content? Simple, it is because they understand contentment means to be able to accept how things are, who they are, as they are. This does not mean they don't ever wish for more, it just means they are not grasping or clinging. They know who they are as a person, and they are okay with who they are at that moment. Don't dismiss the path that takes you to contentment. You will find this path will reward you more because of your positive outlook than only looking to become successful. Being content, you are in harmony with what is happening now and who you are, and what you are able to in this present time, not tomorrow, but now, and to do something that will advance your total self as you work towards completing certain tasks, goals, or even dreams. To a young child, life seems pretty fun and exciting. There is not much care on how others think of them. But as the child advances through adolescence, then adulthood, their ideas have changed, and many do worry how others think of them. Then they become peers to younger people or parents and must learn the importance of being a good role model. Many find themselves in embarrassing situations that are humiliating that may cause self-judgment or self-criticism. Some young people as they grow into adults become obsessed with their body and appearance mostly because of how the media portrays men and women, and somehow you must turn all that around, regardless how much you dislike yourself, and find ways to be that role model to someone who looks up to you or depends on you. Even if life seems to make it hard to always find happiness, you can still be content with what you have and who you are. The slack you see in yourself, you painstakingly try to improve because you truly want to better yourself only because you think so poorly of yourself, and you need to have friends or people that look up to you, continue to like you. What you really need to do, dear ones, is not improve for anyone to like you or to be the center of attention, but to improve yourself because you like you. You are able to accept your total self just as you are, be content with who you are at any moment, but open and willing to make the necessary developmental and growth changes for yourself because you care about you. By giving yourself the care, love, and attention you deserve, you will understand how important being content is, as it's the foundation to long-lasting happiness. One of the reasons why you may find it difficult to be content is because you lack trust in yourself. How can you trust anyone else if you are unable to trust yourself? Dear ones, please comprehend that your relationship with yourself is unlike any other relationship. Do you know someone in your life that is always saying one thing to you, but never follows through? After enough repeat performances of no-shows or not keeping their word, you begin to lose faith and trust in this person. Well, it's pretty much the same with yourself. If you don't like someone, can you trust them? If you don't like yourself, how then can you trust yourself? You see, this is an important area to begin your path towards contentment. Working on trust with yourself is incredibly essential. Another issue that dampens your ability to find contentment with yourself is due to your self-sabotaging ability to be derogatory towards yourself or to compare yourself with an unrealistic ideal. It is understood you have goals, dreams, and ambitions you wish to achieve. But when you begin to compare yourself with such dreams and ambitions, you find ways to measure yourself poorly. If you want to be content, stop the need to compare yourself to unrealistic ideals, and the self-sabotaging, negative judgments towards yourself, and let go of derogative images that you often refer to, and allow yourself to trust your inner person. You have quite a few negative, going nowhere habits that need to be dismissed for habits that encourage contentment. Being content is not just about enjoying a quiet moment in your day reading a book or knitting a sweater. True contentment, dear ones, is starting where you are, content with who you are, and building changes from that point forward that are good for you and beneficial to those closest to you. Many dear souls, when it comes to self-improvement, are driven by need. When you are driven by need, your interest often dissolves too quickly, and what you started to change doesn't always become reality. When you begin enthusiastically on the path to improve yourself, understand the first few attempts you may not succeed. We know you will feel discouraged and possibly say negative, insulting things to yourself, but don't give up. Every mistake you make is a lesson in disguise, something to learn from, because you are not meant to stay down, you are meant to pick yourself up and bring yourself forward. By not trusting that you can undo old habits in favor of new ones, you only make yourself feel worse. Remember, you can do anything when you put your heart and soul into it. When you begin taking the necessary steps to improve yourself, sometimes you become distracted when you discover there are other aspects of you that requires your attention as well. Don't become discouraged. Think of this time as time well spent with yourself. You are getting to know yourself, finally being able to understand the differences of your strengths and weaknesses, and taking the positive step forward to bring change to each area of weakness, one at a time, loving yourself and caring for yourself each step of the way. Yes, you can easily fall into the repeating cycle of having to fix this or that, and not see how much you have already become. Instead of needing to change, try coming from a place of wanting to change, and see how your perception of yourself also changes. Keep in mind and remember often that all exterior things can only bring temporary happiness. Accepting yourself as you are, willing to work in the here and now for the betterment of you, encourages you to discover true happiness comes from within. No matter how decadent the cake is or how shiny the new gadget is, neither will bring lasting happiness if you are not content with yourself at that moment. When you are able to discover the contentment within you, you will have no need to search for external sources for your source of happiness. You will become your own reliable source of contentment and happiness that comes from a much better place, as it comes from your always loving and giving heart. To rebuild trust in yourself or with others, start out small. Do small things and give space to allow development and to see if trust has flourished. Continue your efforts for several days, allowing time to work with you, not against you. When you are trying to bring in changes and you are unsure you trust yourself, start with small changes, easy ones, and work from there, adding harder ones as you build more trust. You can do it. Take a good look at what your ideals are. Sometimes the reason for being unable to find contentment is because you are constantly harping on yourself over something. Don't allow the media to dictate how you are to look or to be. No one knows you better than yourself. Getting to know your whole self is not a bad thing. When you deny your true self in favor for an ideal or image that you are not, you are basically telling yourself, I don't like myself. If you are feeling bad about who you are right now, or if there is something you don't like about yourself, then become aware of this fact from exploring your whole self instead of what the media tells you. Then begin your improvement small and steady, slowly bringing forth your beautiful true and whole self. It is important to let go of the need to always compare yourself with another dear soul. Remember, their journey is theirs, not yours. You are not them. You might be surprised that the many people you look up to are following someone else's ideal or image, and not portraying their true self. So be true to you, by being you. Why would you want to be anyone else, when you are beautifully unique? Stop hurting yourself and give yourself the compassion you deserve. Living in contentment is more than a possibility when you trust and believe in your whole self just as you are. And so it is. I am Ascended Master, El Morya through Julie Miller. SpiritualNetworks.com